All right, here we roll. Welcome back to the Man Cave Caucus podcast. This is the one-stop shop, Tim, for entertainment and information, not to mention good-natured shenanigans. Joel, you can even fact-check that. It's actually in our bio. I don't know if you knew that or not, but...
that was written by DOGE. Or by DOGE.
Yeah.
By Grok.
My name's Ben Baker. I'm your host.
Don't fact-check that.
Yeah, don't fact-check that one. I'm a recovering mayor, a freedom-loving small government family man, Tim. A Republican Missouri state representative. I believe in faith, family, liberty, getting the government out of our lives as much as is possible. And I was raised, I don't know about you, but I was raised on the principles of what I call hard work and clean living. I think they still work. Tim Holden is the co-host here on the Man Cave Caucus podcast, across from the makeshift desk, the seer of seers, prognosticator of prognosticators, a man of many talents and a barrel of laughs. Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Will any of this be fact-checked? That's
Joel's just
I've got Snopes pulled up.
itching.
I am pretty much a younger, better-looking version of what Ben just said.
Right?
That's the guy that doesn't do his homework. The guy that doesn't do his homework's version of what Ben just said. Ben does a lot of the heavy lifting on the podcast here, but
Well, this is our first week of a new video system, so it's going to be a little rough on the first week and getting used to it, but we're working it in, so we're excited about that.
But yeah, I just try to work hard and take care of the fam.
That's right. That's all you can do.
And that pretty much sums my life up.
Our third man at the table is, I should say, in the pleather couch. Is it in the pleather couch or is it on the pleather couch?
Sometimes one way and sometimes another.
When we get him on the
But our
edge of
third
the pleather
man
couch.
is Detective Joel Mace, the two-handed, 10-fingered fact-checking machine. And he's our full-time, part-time Googler. Search engine extraordinaire and sports commentator at times.
I worked with Joel for a long time. I say a long time, probably 5-6 years in the construction industry. And it's a miracle he has all 10 of those digits. He found his calling shortly thereafter.
Well,
Safety first was never in the title.
I'm glad he found his digits. So Joel, how'd you end up on the podcast? I mean,
I was listening one week and Tim was talking about the numbers of, was it Ethiopians that were in Minnesota? And he's like, then you guys checked each other and he was way off.
Just by a couple 100,000, I think.
And one of you guys said we needed someone to
and Joel
fact
said,
check Tim.
I am that.
And
I am that man.
I immediately texted Tim and I was like, hey, check with Ben. I got you guys.
We've had
It worked out good.
he's cleaned it up quite a bit, really.
It was meant to be. I mean, in my opinion.
To find 3 adult men who can be free almost every Saturday.
It's impossible. It's almost impossible. But
Yet here
together, everybody, we make up the Man Cave Caucus podcast. And the reason why I started this, and wanted to get this going is I firmly believe that the rise of independent media is a big part, actually, of our country turning around. And the obviously the legacy or the mainstream media, whatever you want to call it, has completely been co-opted by the left and the leftist cabal for a long time, actually. And not to mention, not just that that they're not accurate a lot of the time or not objective, but they're also boring and just hard to watch for the average person out there, the average American. And so I just, since this was our first video podcast episode, I wanted to kind of take our listeners through that and what we do here at the Man Cave Caucus podcast. So far, we've tried to keep relevant with the news of the week and just comment on the different news stories from the week. And, of course, we add our flair and our humor and all of that. But our biggest challenge is the fact, just like you mentioned, Tim, that we're three extremely busy and guys, and even just this time commitment is difficult every week for us. Except for a couple of ads that we've done for friends on the podcast, we don't get paid to do this as of yet. Maybe one day. But it's our intentions that once we get the logistics figured out and really feel comfortable with everything, we're just now, we're 70, this is the 76th episode, right?
Yep.
And we're just now getting comfortable with the audio portion of the content of the podcast.
Just finding our voice.
Just finding our voice.
Like we talked about this. My buddy Brock always mentions that episode, I think it was 67. Yeah. That guy on the
right.
Can't even remember. Oh, Ghostbusters 2, which I haven't seen yet. He was always trying to get people to listen to his podcast, and he said, I found my voice around episode 67. That's where you need to pick up.
Well, it is something that is it's a real thing. The learning curve of doing all this and doing it ourselves, not paying somebody else to do the production. And we know it's not perfect, but our intention is we're at least striving for that. And, maybe one day we'll get there. But the audience is growing, and you, the listeners, can help us with that. You can spread the word, tell your friends about it. And what we want to get to the point one of these days to do is to have more guests on the show as well, do interviews, that kind of thing. But anyway, we're going to get into the show today, and we got a lot to talk about. There's so much going on with what's happening in the Trump administration every day. It has been just unbelievable. But the Super Bowl happened last week since we last recorded. So what's your take on that?
I missed it.
Oh, you missed it.
I didn't watch a single snap. Silent protest.
Purposefully or?
Yeah.
I bet you $1 is working.
I did. I built a cabinet. And
nice.
I was tempted a couple times to turn it on.
Just weren't feeling it?
No. Two of my least favorite teams in the NFL would be the Chiefs and the Eagles.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I sat this one out.
Well, I'll tell you, from my perspective, Tim, it was the absolute worst Super Bowl I have ever watched. Not only the game itself, the Chiefs couldn't do anything, both offensively or defensively, and they just got completely demolished by the Eagles. But it just wasn't a fun game to watch. I didn't enjoy the halftime show, none of it. So I left early, and that's how it ended for me. Joel, what was your take on it?
I really didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the game. I was winning a chili cook-off.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Winning a chili cook-off.
Brought home a nice trophy.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
It was the first annual Southwest Missouri Fraternal Order of Police Lodge Number 27 chili cook-off. I came up with the idea. I recruited the guy who donated the grand prize, and I made a pot of chili and won the thing.
Man, that is awesome.
How many pots were you up against?
2 other pots.
Wow.
Yeah. Hopefully next year there'll be a bunch more.
Yeah. I was going to say I'm a bit of a chili cook-off judge from way back.
I know that's true about you.
And I'd love to have some of that chili if you ever have some leftovers.
Okay.
Some chili is some of my favorite food. So
Especially
don't threaten me with a good time.
with weather like this.
Oh, I know. For sure. Well, so the Super Bowl happened, and the one thing is, though, I do appreciate that there wasn't a ton of wokeness, like in the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Didn't see a lot of that on display. Everyone was decently clothed. I couldn't understand a word from the artist who performed at the halftime show. Who was it? Kendrick Lamar? Was that the...
Is he any
the
relation
rapper?
to Lewis?
Louis Lamar?
Spelled a little bit different, I think.
Quite a bit different. But I did like the red, white, and the blue colors. That's about the only thing that I got out of that. But just not my cup of tea. But I thought the only redeeming factor, though, was how President Trump was received and how Taylor Swift was booed. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not. But here's a little video of the national anthem, and whenever Trump comes on the screen, man, everybody just goes crazy. Let's back that up.
So proudly we hailed
Andy Reid looks like a
at the twilight
Dr. Phil if he lived a little harder.
broad stripes
I'd say.
and bright stars through the perilous
There it is.
fight. O'er the ramparts
Crowd just went
we
wild.
watched was so gallant this stream.
There was some pretty good.
What uniform was that?
Was that the Space Force
Has to be.
in that picture?
Has to be.
Joel's
'Cause I'd never seen it.
It was the West Point dress blues or whatever they are.
Oh,
Okay.
That our flag
Thanks, Joel.
Kind of did look like something off of...
feel there.
Looked sharp though.
Yeah, it kind of looked like something off of Star Trek. Spock might have wore.
Yeah. When you. Oh, Mahomes was looking pretty good at the beginning there. It went downhill from
That was
there.
as close as he got to a smile the whole night.
Yeah. That's the end of it. So, Trump was the first sitting president to ever attend the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was telling my wife, I said that was, usually you'd hear complaints that the president was taking time off to do something frivolous, like golfing. They
Right.
love to complain. I mean, I did it.
But everybody
when,
loves it when it's the...
yeah. Well, they were probably so relieved that
Right.
he took a few minutes off.
Right.
It was the first time that they didn't have to have riots in the street about DOGE knocking the skeletons around in the closets.
Right. Yeah. Well, also, so this weekend is NASCAR, right? Is there a big NASCAR race?
I think so. Daytona.
So he's going to that too.
Oh,
And I think it's the first time that a sitting president has been to a NASCAR race. Or maybe that NASCAR race. I'm not sure which one, but
Tomorrow, 12:30.
is it tomorrow? Where's it at?
Daytona, Florida.
Okay, so Daytona. Maybe it's the first sitting president
to go to the Daytona,
Daytona 500. But he's killing it, man. I mean, a man of the people. I'd venture to say that the NASCAR race, though, will be much more MAGA than the Super Bowl. Even
could be out of control.
Yeah. So we'll see what that looks like. But so the Department of Government Efficiency. I don't know if you've heard or not.
It's all I've heard. That's
DOGE.
It's taken my news feed over. Now I see videos of that instead of Swahili country music covers.
Right. So Elon Musk and his team of young geniuses. So I think they're up around 100 guys now.
Whoa.
Because they asked for like 40 more this past week. So now up around 100 people are just wreaking havoc in the swamp, just going door to door of the government agencies, revealing the raw data of these payment systems specifically, and how much the government obviously hates the taxpayers by wasting our money all over the place, except for making America great, is what it seems like. Like every department they go to, that is the common denominator. We're spending money all over the world, everywhere, but we're not making America great. And so there was an estimate at the Department of Treasury, which, you know, is one of the first ones that they went into, but is known to have about 23.8% of its budget being used in a fraudulent or wasteful fashion. How much money? Joel, look up the budget for the Treasury Department, if you can find it, and see just roughly, like, what would that be like in numbers? 23% of their budget being fraudulent and wasteful. It's no telling what that would be. But I saw this tweet. So this I thought was interesting, because if you look at these numbers, it is interesting. The Treasury's at the top of the list. 23.8% of their budget is fraudulent. Labor Department, 11%. Veterans Affairs, 10%. Agriculture, 9%. Health and Human Services, 8%. That one, I think, has to be higher than that. I don't know if this is just what they've found so far or an estimate, not based on, you know, what DOGE has actually revealed yet. But I would think that HHS would be more than that. But education is another one, 4.9%.
$6.8 trillion is their 2024 budget. Can that be right?
6.8 trillion.
So it's up by 10%, 2023, which would be 617 billion.
Would be 23%.
Which would be 10%, which it's up in 24, 10% from 23, 617 billion more, which totals $6.8 trillion.
That's insane.
So,
Well, the total GDP is like 20 something, right? 20 some trillion. I can't remember exactly, but that's just nuts. Those kind of numbers. And what's happening with this is they're uncovering, and they are bringing to light what has been happening with the grift in the federal government for so long. And, you know, we've known that this is happening, but we just haven't seen this kind of attention that has been placed on it at this point. And I think that's something that every American needs to see. The NGOs, the federal agencies, the NGOs, the kickbacks that they're beginning to uncover. You can imagine that the left and even some of the card-carrying uniparty members on the right, they're not happy. They don't like it when the grift is getting revealed.
it's like the lights come on and the cockroaches are just frantically scattering.
And they are.
Are these guys going to get prosecuted?
I sure hope so. I mean,
Well,
Kash Patel's FBI will be able to track down that money.
I want to say that I think the biggest squirmer out of all of the people that I've seen frantically, Ocasio-Cortez has been pretty bad, but Maxine Waters.
Oh, she's absolutely
Nobody's-
losing her mind.
looks like she's afraid of some serious white collar time.
Well, have you seen how much money these people are worth? There's no way that on $170-some thousand a year they're making the kind of money that they have.
Listen, I don't think it would happen, but I don't care if it was Ted Cruz. I
Right.
love Ted Cruz, but if he's
Agree.
involved in that, lock him up.
Anybody who is should be completely exposed, and that's again something that I think the American people, they want to know. So the other thing that's happening with this is they're already trying the lawfare, right? They're trying this angle again with DOGE and what they're doing. An Obama-appointed judge has banned the has banned the United States Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, from accessing his own departments that he was appointed to run data. The very department he was appointed to run, the judge says you're not allowed to access the data.
What recourse?
The database.
What recourse is there for bad judges?
This is a problem, Tim.
It's a real problem.
Yeah. There's really no recourse. I mean, some of them, depending on the states, depending on, but federal judges, there's really no recourse.
I would imagine they have immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's bigger problem than immunity. It's like, that's going to be the biggest hiccup. In
Yeah.
all
A lot of
this.
them are appointed for life, until some other appointment is made and they're taken out by the next administration or whatever.
So, are they? So they're above treason, or
I don't know what the actual threshold is for a judge to actually get in trouble.
That's
but
what
surely there is some check and balance, right? Like to some degree.
maybe the
You can't break the law.
maybe the forefathers didn't see for that.
I think prosecutorial immunity is written in.
Yeah, because
I don't know, but I think it is.
If it's the decision they're making, right? But to me, I mean, I don't think it's going to stand in the end. I don't think it'll
does
stand.
it
There's
go
no
to
way
a,
it
does
can
it go
stand.
to a higher court at least?
Well, it doesn't have to. I mean, it can, depending on how that case progresses.
That may be the recourse, is to just kick it to higher court till it gets to the tippy top.
From my understanding, it was like an emergency injunction, which expired yesterday.
Right.
So I mean, I guess if I still don't think it was lawful, but I think it was just like, hey, let's throw the brakes on this till we can have a hearing on it,
Yeah.
kind of deal.
Well, but they're trying this everywhere that they can. I don't think they're going to get away with it. You can't prohibit a department director from actually accessing information from the department they've been tasked with directing.
It's like
You can't do that.
hopefully the wheels start coming off, or the brakes start coming off of some of that, where it's just they realize that.
Well, I think what's good about what they're doing is that they're putting a full court pressure on with all of this stuff, and because of that, they can't keep up with it. Right? They just can't keep up, and that's a good thing. Like, by the time they figure out how to respond to what they were doing at the Treasury Department, they're already done and on to the next federal building.
which is really that. I
It's
think
genius.
that's what has upset them.
Yes.
Upset the rhinos and the.
Because they're working around the clock
Swamp
on this.
monsters.
They're working
Yeah.
around the clock on this stuff. There's an article I read that is absolutely awesome if you can find it on Twitter. But it's really good at explaining what's happening. And as I understood it, it was actually one of the guys on the DOGE team that was writing this. He goes under the Twitter handle Eco, I believe. I don't know if you saw any of these tweets, but the summary of this is this article. He starts talking about like an inside track of what they're doing with this. But also this this movement that has taken place with Donald Trump coming into office was something that was planned for a long time, right? This is something that there was a lot of planning that went into so that day one these kind of things could happen. And this operation with these audits initiated, with the Treasury Department and all of these things, President Trump ordered a near total freeze of the USAID foreign aid, which was a part of broader changes that the agency announced as well. But the overhaul involved all these analysis by these coders. So they're going in and they're getting into the system and they're installing these algorithms to find out these payment systems and where the money's going, where it's coming from, who got paid, was it authorized to get paid, all of these things. There's a trail for it, and they're finding that, and it's amazing what's happening with it, because the other side of this that I never thought about, that he talks about in this article, is that it's not just about finding where the fraud is and the waste was and where that's going on, but also what projects didn't get approved that should have been approved, right? So there's infrastructure projects across the country that were supposed to be approved but didn't get approved for various reasons, and some that got approved that weren't authorized to be approved. So the other side of this is that nobody's really talking about at this point is that this is going to unleash unprecedented growth when it comes to some of these projects that were supposed to have been started. And now they're saying, well, this was supposed to be authorized, and now they okay it, right? And it's okay. Let's pay it out. Let's do the project, whatever it was, if it was something that was supposed to happen. So you're going to start seeing this around the country too, where infrastructure and things are going to be able to be built that were bogged down in that federal government and the just all the red tape and the things that it has to go through before you can begin those projects.
Reducing the regulation.
Yeah, reducing the regulation.
Do you remember the movie Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of types of lagoons. Some are places you'd want to go, but I was thinking of a wastewater treatment lagoon.
Mm-hmm.
And you could pretty much sum most of the Democrats up as the creatures from the Blue Lagoon.
Yes.
And I was thinking
that'd be a great one.
The picture on the front of
spoof.
The picture on the front of the Creatures of the Blue Lagoon.
Yes.
Put Nancy
Swamp
Pelosi's face.
Plug that
Shimmer.
into Grok with an AI
I know.
image, and you can make that happen.
Be terrific.
So, by the way, did you know that there was a poll the other day that for the first time, if I remember right, Joel, you could probably look this up, but in like 50 years, the majority of the country say that we're going in the right direction with the government. The majority of this country, and it hasn't been that way in so long, are saying that we're going in the right direction.
I saw a poll from the UK that only 30% of young people, I believe it was between the ages of 18 and 30, say that they're proud to be from the United Kingdom.
Yeah, well, I mean,
which is an all-time low.
Yeah.
That they thought they were going in the right direction.
I saw a stat this week that trust in the government has gone up for the first time in ages.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing that I think you're seeing out of this is that it really has changed how people are viewing the government. Like, I think it's because this is what a lot of us have always wanted. We've wanted this kind of oversight when it comes to all the government agencies and departments. Like, why haven't we ever seen this before? Why haven't we had this kind of accountability? And it's something that, if you just running your own finances for your home, like, you have to be that thorough, right? If you want to be successful, if you own a business and you're running a business, you have to be that thorough. You have to be accountable. I mean, if you don't do your due diligence, especially when it comes to taxes, I mean, they're going to run you out of business. The government is going to come after what they think belongs to them. But then the federal government gets away with it all. So I think for a long time, the people have wanted this. But the left are in full-fledged panic mode right now. I mean, they even, so I've got this clip I'm going to play. It's crazy, but it's a pastor that is from the pulpit talking about violence regarding Elon Musk because of what they're doing with DOGE. Just watch this.
And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed. This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go, and we will not go. Therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence. Sometimes the devil will act so ugly that you have no other choice but to get violent and fight. Well, someone might say, now, Reverend, you shouldn't be talking about violence.
Yeah.
This isn't the Christian thing to do. Well, I will say, why not talk this way? Because Jesus did.
Oh,
Jesus said in this key verse, didn't he? The kingdom of heaven suffers what? Violence. And the who? The violent take it by force.
Can you believe that? I've never seen anything quite like that. But I mean, they are losing.
I've seen
their
things
minds.
like that, but that
Right.
that's wild.
A bit out of context,
Just
I will say.
Just a pinch.
But then we have the Dems dropping a a banger of a tune just to fight back against the Doge. Just listen to this. This is greatness.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Tell me. Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Unless I'm going to a Karen off, I don't want to be on their side.
We'll fight Elon Musk. No,
This is going to be joining the Battle Hymn of the Republic in no time.
From dawn to dusk. Oh, which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I think I could write tunes for them.
Are you on?
Can you believe?
Which side are you on? Trump's coming for our unions. He
This is
wants
gold,
us
Ben.
all to fail. He wants us to bow
I don't know where you found this.
We want him in jail. Oh, which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Could we get in the background the chain gang just chipping away at rocks?
This feels a lot like cultural appropriation.
It does.
There are no neutrals found. You're either with
Clink.
the Union
Clink.
or a scabby Musk
Hey.
bloodhound.
Joel, could you get this and dub it over the intro to "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou"?
Side are you on?
I know a guy who could.
Okay.
Are you on? Don't take that government buyout. Don't listen to Trump's lies.
I could listen to this all day.
Workers haven't got a chance unless we
Look at this guy off to the left. He's so stoned he doesn't even know what's going on.
are you on?
Yep.
Which side
How could you get 20 people to learn this?
Which side?
Tell me.
Which side are you on?
I'm going to be singing that all the way home tonight.
Which side are you on?
Please
Tim?
send that to me.
I just want to know, which side are you on?
I'm not
Scott
on
Jennings
your
from
side.
CNN posted this video, and he said, all he said was, "We may never lose again."
From CNN?
Yeah, but he's the one that's like a
Right. Yeah. The,
conservative. He's been on fire lately.
the fly in the ointment over
Yeah.
there.
And so he said, "We may never lose again." And I'm sure he was kind of making a joke there, but I think it's far more likely than what people realize, actually. I mean, the entrenched swamp is getting exposed at lightning speed. And I think as the economy begins to rebound and inflation falls, interest rates come down, gas is going to get cheaper, your neighborhood is going to be safer. The infrastructure is being fast-tracked. You're going to pay less in taxes. The gender insanity cult stuff is over. Kids are going to have school choice, which is going to change everything for the better when it comes to education. And indoctrination is eradicated in our public schools and higher education. People are going to clearly see then what party it was that was behind all of this, and they're going to vote accordingly. So let's look at this is a live look at somebody put this together about, it's just a cartoon that's a good explainer of what's happening with DOGE right now. Just watch this.
Okay, people, we've discovered some incredible abuses of the budget. I mean, really, where are you getting off with these insane expenditures? $10 million spent on body positivity for Haitians in captivity. $8 million on glitter bombs for Saudi Arabian imams. And $9 million on chocolate fondue for East Ukrainian Hebrews.
They have just as much a right to chocolate fondue as anyone, you Nazi!
Well, I'm sorry, but it has to be cut.
No! If you cut $10 million from the CFEUH budget, what's next? Cutting our $3 million budget to give free McFlurries to Pakistani furries?
Well, now that you bring it up...
Oh, come on!
He said, now that you bring it up.
Oh, wow. That's yeah, no, we're definitely cutting that.
This is insanity. You're letting our budget get cut by literal babies.
Because even an infant can balance these books better than you. I mean, come on, people, come on. 50 million taxpayer dollars for Kool-Aid water fountains for North Korean accountants. Abortion on demand for pandas in Japan. 1,000 packs of Smarties for Iraqi slumber parties.
If you touch any of the Iraqi slumber party budgets, I will shoot you myself.
I'm sorry, but it has to go.
This is clearly a slippery slope to canceling our program to destigmatize marijuana for Latinx folks in Uganda.
Your budget for that is $9 million, and frankly, I think you can do it for 8.
You genocidal freak!
We also definitely need to cut...
Please not. Saucy male dancers for Australians with colon cancer. No!
Yes, well, we're at it. We're going to trim. Teaching Zodiac for a more gender-fluid Iraq. A high-speed train for hermaphrodites in Ukraine. Welfare benefits for Aboriginal feminists. And the $12 million you're spending on sex changes for polar bears. This just says sex changes for polar bears. It doesn't even rhyme.
It didn't need to rhyme! It was important enough and it didn't need to rhyme.
The only program left in my department is $12 million to buy IUDs for corgis and Belize.
Yeah, we're going to reduce that. And one more thing. I really think we need to be spending at most half as much as we currently are on easy bake ovens for Saudi Arabian covens.
I don't want to live, I don't want to live, I don't want to live!
Don't do it! You have so much to live for!
Like what?
If it's promoting alternative fuels to Afghani polycules, I have bad news for you. Oh, and lastly, we cut all funding for free handgun ammunition for all U.S. aid positions.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay.
If that's not exactly what it's like right now, though, what is, right?
Abortion on demand for pandas in Japan.
Right. It's like you can't make it up, man. But
I have a couple friends on Facebook that are left-leaning, and they really do sound like
yeah,
just desperate to justify everything that's being exposed.
well, again, though, like you really just can't argue for, what they're doing right now. Like these are real mistakes, real fraud, and they're trying to act like they're taking the stance that this is, Elon taking over the government, or that, why do we need a president if Elon Musk has this much power or whatever. They can't even really talk about actually what's happening because of how popular it is when it comes to what DOGE is doing. So on Fox News, Elon was explaining the weird reality that there's some limestone caves where they put all the federal paperwork of the employees that are fired or that are let go or that are retired. And being that they have and will continue to let federal employees go, where they're not doing their job or they're not needed, he's pointing out the ridiculous fact that it's almost impossible to let people go, like to fire a federal employee and to really deep clean these agencies of employees. So here's what he says regarding that.
One of the things is, like, we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this, obviously, there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, well, let's, if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like,
this is so crazy.
There's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, then the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this.
Elevator breaks down, so nobody can retire.
Those people and say, like, you know what? Instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else, and you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a.
Somebody also and had an actual picture of it too, but they were saying that when they get down there in these limestone mines, they take these little tricycles around to get their paper, or whatever. And I mean, you just can't imagine how ridiculous that is.
I would love to see an interview of some of the people that actually work down there in the mine. Right.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Just haven't seen daylight in years.
I bet it's a different...
Wazowski?
That's exactly what I was thinking of. A lot of people that have been there for 50 years.
I can't even imagine.
They'd retire, but the world forgot about them.
Right. They're like, what year is it? So next up, there's a clip that went viral where a Soros-backed NGO, okay? And this is what's ironic. Like, a Soros-backed NGO with the name of Project on Government Oversight, okay? Which is probably, if just going to take a wild guess, but probably anything but government oversight.
Pogo?
I would assume. Yeah, Pogo. And this guy was, so they call in their expert witness to testify, this guy from the Project on Government Oversight, okay? And lo and behold, the guy is a blind guy. I'm not making it up. I'm not even making it up. And look, we're not making light of this guy's handicap or what he goes through personally because of that. But you can't help but just realize how ironic it is that the Dems expert witness on government oversight, when they bring him in to testify and say, I don't see any waste or fraud. I don't see any problems at all. and what's going on with DOGE, and the guy is blind.
Blind guy leads the watchdog group.
Right. So just listen to this.
Waste is different from fraud. Fraud is different from abuse. And abuse is different
Tell
from
me
when we talk about
this is the
improper
Babylon
payments,
Bee.
they are a subset
No, it's
of those
not.
different
Yeah.
categories.
Tell me.
That doesn't
Not the
tell us
bee.
whole picture either.
It's not Tim.
Sometimes improper payments are a function of bad record keeping.
Tell me
Sometimes
somebody
they
hit
are
the
a function
wrong
of outdated
button
information
and
technology
accidentally sent it to not
Nope.
the bee.
Sometimes they come about
Just-
through human error, and sometimes they come about through negligence.
Just
There are a variety of reasons why improper payments happen. It's
Somebody
simply
adjusted his
not
mic
the
for him.
That improper payments are only a function of
Guy
bad
with the
people
mask rolls
doing
by.
bad things with bad intent.
There's Tim's Halloween costume back in 2013. The Keytar guy.
yes.
Yep.
But I mean, can
Unbelievable.
you imagine that? Like,
So I read the comments on this, and one of the comments was, "You literally can't make this stuff up."
you can't,
And the
you
Babylon
can't.
Bee said, "We do every week, but we didn't make up this one."
Right. Oh, it's so crazy. So, as DOGE makes its way to Medicare and Medicaid, the subcommittee found this $2.7 trillion in fraud, in improper payments. Get this. Overseas improper payments. Payments to people who should never have qualified for Medicaid or Medicare overseas. And this is the press conference with Carolyn Levitt when she begins to talk about this stuff, what's happening with Medicare and Medicaid as DOGE begins to go through it. Listen to this.
Brian.
Yes. I want to go back to DOGE just for a second. Earlier, the subcommittee headed by Chairman Marjorie Taylor Greene, her and her staff discovered $2.7 trillion in improper payments to Medicare, Medicaid, overseas, to people who should not have gotten it. Some in this room might have missed that press conference. Can you elaborate on what the president is thinking at this point?
Well, again, that's another example. There's a very long list of the fraud, waste, and abuse that DOGE is identifying on a daily basis. Elon Musk also talked about yesterday about Social Security payments that are going out the door for people who are no longer with us. Unfortunately, I would say that is certainly fraud. There's also a lot of contracts they've identified that, just as a hypothetical example, are $1 million, but only 500,000 went out the door. So where's the rest of that cash? And so that's the thing. Those are the things that DOGE is working on every single day. And I would just remind everybody in this room, this is what President Trump campaigned on doing. He's delivering on a promise that 77.
Can you imagine? Like, how many improper payments to people who are dead, already passed on?
That makes me sick.
Like, it's maddening to think about, though. It really is. So I've got a clip that you're going to love, Tim. This is unfortunately a Missouri congressman from Kansas City by the name of Emmanuel Cleaver, who had a few words for the DOGE group, and he's just not having it. He's just not happy about what's going on with DOGE. And listen to what he says.
Now, I'm going to be quick because I want to send a message to somebody. Elon, take your musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon. Because if you don't, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, we're going to march, we're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money or go to Moscow, you musty moon.
Missouri's finest. He could have at least said go to Mars.
You musty moo.
The CFPB he was talking about, that's Elizabeth Warren's creation.
Oh.
It's
wow.
totally
Oh.
it's a
Elizabeth Warren would get number 2 on the most upset
for sure
politician right now.
Yeah. It's just hilarious watching these people.
Between Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. I've got one from Maxine here, but it's great stuff.
They're a little nervous.
But as they lose their minds over this, over the DOGE stuff, we find out this week too, this is delicious, okay? Obama is actually who put this into place. Did you guys know this? Like, it just can't get any better than this. He actually put the framework in place to allow this kind of auditing to take place in the federal agencies and departments. And this is what's crazy about it. Like, listen to this. This is Kanekoa the Great tweeted this, but it's from another source online. But it says this: Tom Renz, who actually read Trump's DOGE executive order and expecting some illegal power grab, found it to be airtight. Turns out Trump and Musk didn't create anything. Obama did. Obama created the United States Digital Service in 2014. It was meant as a bureaucratic patch job to fix Obamacare, the Obamacare website, and the problems that were happening immediately with the Obamacare website meltdown. So fast forward to 2025, Trump rebrands it DOGE, the United States DOGE Service, keeps the acronym, keeps the funding, but gives it a whole new mission: find the receipts, find the fraud, find the waste in these departments. And it's legally untouchable because it was already fully funded and operational. So Trump just invokes this executive order, which allows him to create temporary hiring authorities. DOGE teams get embedded inside every single federal agency. Each team consists of a lawyer, an HR rep, some of these young geniuses, an investigator. They report to DOGE, not the agency that they're embedded in. So they don't have to say anything to that agency.
Which, they would like for them to say something to the agencies.
Oh, yeah.
It's
of course they would.
Why would that's not how audits work in any place. Well,
the other one was 44 Chapter 35, which governs federal IT and cybersecurity oversight. So since the USDS was originally an IT oversight body, DOGE now has full access to all federal data systems, all of them.
And that was all designed to keep Obamacare from going bankrupt in the first
so his executive order is written to block the legal challenge or legal challenges, including the language that overrides conflicting executive orders. So orders every agency to comply, and refusal means they violate presidential authority. So Congress can't defund it because it's not a new program. It's just a repurposed one. And the DOJ can't sue for overreach because Trump used existing laws exactly as they were written. So they're trying to find some legal challenge into this. And this is why you see that ridiculous lawfare like, oh, well, we're just going to temporarily ban you from accessing the database, for 10 days or whatever, like it's some kind of emergency, because there's nothing they can really do about it. So, but what's hilarious to me is that Obama literally built this and built the perfect administrative IT backdoor for this, and they just hacked the system and took the administration controls. So now he has legal oversight of every major agency's internal systems. And Obama is the one that put that into place. To me, that is it's just too good. It's just too good when you realize that is exactly what happened. I've got one clip of Obama, because, the left are all losing their minds over this right now. But if you go back, like, Obama talked about doing these kind of things. He never did.
Right.
Clinton talked about these kind of things. Never did. Right. Actually doing this kind of deep cleaning and deep level oversight on our government agencies. So here's Obama. I don't know what year this is, But here's Obama talking about this very kind of thing.
Commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. Cutting waste, making government more efficient is something that leaders in both parties have worked on. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative.
I need this.
One of the
I need
commitments
this
that I
clip
made
also.
Oh man,
You need what?
I need that clip to share to
Your friends.
my friends.
your friends.
Hey, I like that guy.
Yeah, he's talking some good stuff.
Talking
Maybe if they
sense.
named it Doge Obamacare, it would have gone over better.
All right. Just named it different.
Department of Government
Efficiency. We're going to take a break real quick, and we'll be right back, everybody.
If that happens, I'll fall on the sword. Just say, oh, Joel must have brought that in and left it there.
Swan dive on the sword. Gentleman and the Scholar.
And we're back from the break. Did you hear the news about the federal whistleblower who claims that Pennsylvania Democrat Governor Josh Shapiro was linked to the assassination attempt of President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania?
I did not see that.
This is wild stuff.
I did see that.
Hadassah Feinberg, I think is his name. Former Pennsylvania State Police employee. And here's the summary, basically. He filed a criminal complaint, actually, on February the 7th, alleging that Governor Josh Shapiro, along with other officials, was involved in orchestrating the assassination attempt on Trump, which occurred on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. The complaint suggests that Shapiro's involvement was part of a broader political scheme, actually. According to the claims, Shapiro allegedly organized, schemed, and conspired with state officials to carry out the attack. There's mention of President Joe Biden making frequent visits to Shapiro in the weeks leading up to the rally to discuss what was described as what he called an obstacle faced by the Democratic Party, implying these meetings were connected to the assassination plot. The complaint also alleges broader corruption, including election interference and money laundering through, guess who? Ukraine. So no official charges or investigations into Shapiro's alleged involvement have been confirmed by law enforcement or official sources as of the latest updates. Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldinger disapproved of Feinberg's private criminal complaint, citing ongoing investigations by various agencies already currently, but did not confirm any active investigations into Shapiro's role as described by this whistleblower. So, and of course Shapiro has publicly condemned the assassination attempt, but what do you know?
I did see that.
Could be possible.
sounded plausible.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think
innocent till proven guilty, but man,
yeah,
that's a.
Well, I mean, we've had questions about Butler since day one, and a lot of those questions have never been answered.
But I have to believe that they're turning every stone.
You do? Well, now, yes.
No. Yeah.
Now, yes. Mm-hmm. Did you see the, by the way, the ad during the Super Bowl for the Secret Service?
Yes, I thought that was awesome.
That was awesome.
I didn't.
It was. Tim didn't watch it.
I wasn't there.
It was really good.
I was disappointed that Elon did not, in fact, take out ad space.
Well, there was a Starlink commercial with T-Mobile.
So people probably
tried to make something
pulled a
of
Tim.
that.
People might have pulled a Tim.
They did, for sure.
Jumped a few conclusions.
Yeah. I was there for it. I was, in fact,
that was the only part that I was
Yeah.
like, well, I'll get to watch it afterwards.
No,
That would have been a larger than life troll.
The biggest troll.
Yeah. I don't know if we were ready to handle that kind of a troll.
I'm ready.
It would have been like it would have been like for me if I'd been watching that Super Bowl and that came on, I would have jumped up like my dad used to back in the early 90s when the Cowboys were winning the Super Bowl. Jumped up, fists clenched, kicked the couch back. Everybody trying to figure out what could get someone this excited.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would have been excited. I was really looking forward to it, but didn't get to see it. So we'll see what happens with whistleblower complaint, and if anything actually comes out about that with Governor Josh Shapiro, which really is probably at the top of the list for Democrat contenders for the next presidential election, actually, when you think about it.
He feels like the only adult in the room, in that room.
Yeah. I mean, Gavin Newsom's out for sure now because of the California fires, right?
I've seen crazier things happen, but
that can get whitewashed in 4 years.
So, next up, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, you know who I'm talking about, is tasked with a new subcommittee of declassifying all the government secrets. And
she kind of looks like someone off the Addams Family.
She's actually, pretty decent looking.
Yeah, the Addams Family weren't bad looking folks. They just
so listen to what she says.
Needed more sun
after this appointment.
With the stroke of a pen, he committed to declassifying the files concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A decision not just monumental, but pivotal. It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files. This task force will be a beacon of bipartisanship. On the Republican side, Representatives Burchett, Boebert, Burleson, Crane, Gill, and Mace will be joining me, although I'd like to note that I'm expanding this to the entire governing body and will be allowing certain members to waive
Burleson.
on. Our first
And
hearing
Mace.
is set for March.
That's right.
The date will be announced soon, and we've already initiated close to a dozen
Joel's
communications with
favorite
various
congresswoman.
agencies, to include Pam Bondi,
Nancy
the
Mace.
Cousin Nancy,
and the Secretary of State. This will no longer be a task force that makes bold promises only to fade into irrelevance or send strongly worded letters. This will be a relentless
No more
pursuit of
strongly
truth
worded
and
letters. Can we just
transparency, and
do
will
something?
Not stop until the American
Dadgummit.
people have the answers they deserve. We will cut through the bureaucracy, challenge the stonewalling, and ensure that the American people finally get the truth that they have been denied for too long.
All right, that's enough. So
transparency is back.
Transparency's back. Yeah, so our own Congressman Eric Burleson is also on that subcommittee of revealing all the secrets, and I'm here for it.
That was the one from Broadway. Uncanny resemblance.
I can't wait for when they call Alex Jones in for testimony for that subcommittee to explain why all the frogs are gay. They're turning the frogs gay.
We need a button. Turn that into a button.
They were. Come to find out, that was his soundbite that made him the crazy guy, and
they really were turning the frogs gay. Right, it was really true. But seriously, let's do this, right? Like, no more talking about revealing the secrets. No more news committees about it. Let's just do it. Like, why wait another day? Just do it all. Make it a reality series, you know? I think that'd be probably the most watched TV show on TV.
Get it to be sponsored by Nike. It would be a tough
Taylor
sell.
Sheridan could direct it.
Tough sell. Name it. Just do it.
Just do it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe like The Office or something type show. That'd
Dude,
be
it
great.
would be great to have a show come up called DOGE, and have the host of characters.
Yeah.
I can't imagine those guys are not interesting people. The youngsters. There will be a movie someday.
They're probably socially awkward, but they're probably so smart. Obviously.
Could we buy the rights to said movie?
I don't know.
It's early.
Maybe.
Throw our hat in the ring.
So next up, also this week, Tulsi Gabbard is confirmed and sworn in as the Director of National Intelligence. How sweet is it, guys, that someone that the deep state literally put on the no-fly list because of her boldness to call him out is now in charge? I think that's just it's just great. But here is Tulsi Gabbard after that swearing in, and I think had some great words.
Mr. President, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the trust that you have placed in me to fulfill this critical position as Director of National Intelligence at any time, but specifically during this time. Unfortunately, the American people have very little trust in the intelligence community, largely because they've seen the weaponization and politicization of an entity that is supposed to be purely focused on ensuring our national security. So I look forward to being able to help fulfill that mandate that the American people delivered to you very clearly in this election, to refocus our intelligence community by empowering the great patriots who have chosen to serve our country in this way, and focus on ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. As you've said, Mr. President, this is what I've dedicated my life to, and it is truly humbling to be in this position, to serve in your administration, help to rebuild that trust, and ultimately to keep the American people safe.
Good words from Tulsi Gabbard, the finally confirmed secretary. So, also this week, RFK Jr. was confirmed and sworn in as the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services to make America healthy again. Sworn in by Justice Gorsuch, right in front of the Ronald Reagan picture there in the Oval Office. Who would have ever thought, right?
Did you see the Babylon Bee
America
story on that?
No, I
Said
didn't.
RFK Jr. is sworn in on a 38-ounce ribeye steak. And they had a steak.
That's great. Here he is talking about, or actually, here's the swearing in part.
I, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this
Ronnie Reagan just looking on
I take this obligation
with a
freely
pleasant smile on his face.
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and
Quite an oath.
faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
Did you listen to his words after the swearing in?
That was really good.
Really good.
Really good. And I mean, I was just thinking about this. Like who would have ever thought that a Kennedy would have gotten a red pilled like RFK Jr. and we would be in this position of a Kennedy working in a Republican presidential administration of Donald J. Trump. But I firmly believe, I don't even really question, I think RFK Jr. loves his country, and I think he truly wants to
make a difference and try to fix some of these deep-rooted problems. And I think he'll do great at that. And I will say this, like, this is probably the biggest upgrade in appointments. It couldn't
from
get
who was
bigger.
currently there.
I don't know how it could get any more stark.
From a man appropriating as a woman in a dress and obese, I might add.
I think we could say misappropriating.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Mrs. appropriating to you.
That's ma'am.
But, you know, to a person who is an alpha male dad, father that cares about his family, cares about the country, who's patriotic, who is healthy. I mean, the guy's ripped and obsessed with curing the health crisis among, especially among children. So I think it's going to be great times. In other news, Mitch McConnell voted no, of course, on Tulsi Gabbard and RFK.
Dirty Mitch.
Yeah. And he's just not having it. You know, he just doesn't like the fact that we have these qualified appointments.
I'm pretty sure he's just a skin suit that
right.
A meat puppet of sorts.
Here's what he had to say about it. He's really not happy.
There was one very significant defection here in the United States Senate. That was Republican Mitch McConnell, the former GOP leader, someone who just put out a scathing statement about RFK Jr.'s views about the issue of vaccine. I'm going to read you part of it, Pamela. He said that he noted that he's a childhood survivor of polio, and he talked about how vaccines have saved millions of lives around the world. He said that he will not condone the relitigation of proven cures, and neither will millions of Americans. He goes on to say that referring to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a record of trafficking in dangerous conspiracy theories and eroding trust in public health institutions does not entitle Mr. Kennedy to lead these important efforts, referring to efforts to try to treat illnesses and disease. He goes on to talk about the efforts to try to deliver on vaccines.
And then he just kind of pauses.
Freezes up.
He freezes up, of course. How'd that?
Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? Turtle.
I'm surprised he made it back for this vote. Didn't he fall down the steps?
Yeah. Was it really him that voted, though?
I'm pretty sure that he looks like an airhead in this picture. You know, the airhead candy?
Yeah. He looks to me
like he tucked his skin into his collar.
It feels like that guy from that Will Smith Alien movie.
There's a balloon knot right behind that.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Double Windsor tie knot right
What's
there.
that Alien movie? Men in Black.
Men in Black.
The alien that takes over
I'm
the
just
man's
saying,
body.
how easy would it be
Vaccines. He says Mr. Kennedy failed
to make a mask of this guy? You don't even have to have it tight fitting.
No.
You just drape it and tuck it into the collar.
Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Here's Maxine Waters. Almost spilling the beans, too, by the way.
Woo! If you haven't heard this yet, you're in for a real treat.
This is so great. I got to blow this up on the screen so we can see it real good. It's Max. Have you ever seen Terrence Williams do the thing with the wig?
I haven't.
Oh, man.
I think you played it last week.
It's so good.
Here's another one that would not be all that tough to slip some latex over a robot and send them in to vote.
Yeah. Here she goes.
The people of this country are being violated because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk and Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us. We don't know
Whoops.
what all they have on us. The people of this country are being violated
One more time.
because all of our privacy is being taken up by Elon Musk and Trump, and we don't know what all they have on us. We don't know what all they have on us.
She was saying the truth. The people of this country have, in fact, been violated.
Yes.
By us. And we don't know what all they have.
We don't know what all they have on us.
Our privacy and our right to continue violating is being usurped by this vile crew.
Here's another good one. So, since there's apparently a cure, for people like Mitch McConnell, Tim, and Mad Maxine, here's an ad for the appropriate solution.
Have you been crying over Elon Musk? Do you find yourself sobbing at the thought of your taxpayer-funded transgender basket weaving club losing its funding? You may be suffering from a common condition known as libtardism-induced meltdown. But don't worry, there's help. Introducing Grow-A-Pair, the revolutionary prescription solution designed to help you accept reality. With just one dose a day, you'll start to understand that tax dollars aren't meant for gender numeral electric vehicle startups in Vietnam. After taking Grow-A-Pair, you may notice life-changing improvements, such as smaller man, the ability to fund your own transgender basket weaving without relying on Uncle Sam, and a newfound indifference to the defunding of the U.S. Department of Slope Sidewalk Studies. Grow-A-Pair won't solve all your problems, but it can help you stop fixating on who's going to pay for DEI pudding packs in Cambodia.
Side effects may include dry mouth, increased common sense, employment, smaller man, and lower taxes.
Ask your doctor if Grow-A-Pair is right for you, because adulting is hard, but it doesn't have to be. Have you been crying?
So there's a cure. But, in all seriousness, the lack of intelligence is just mind-blowing from these people. It's just unreal. Here's a Democrat congresswoman whining about how that the word manufacturing is scary because it causes kids because it has the word man in it.
There's a whole lot of those.
You remember when Emmanuel Cleaver said "a woman"? What did he say? A man and a woman when he prayed.
Yeah,
and I was calling him "e woman UL" then.
Yeah, because he has man right there.
Right. This is Mrs.
It's a slippery.
Schakowsky.
It's a slippery slope.
Oh. Wazowski.
Yesterday, I met with a manufacturing company, but they also are engaged in getting young people more engaged in manufacturing. So I asked them, so how many of those students that are signing up and want to do this, how many are women? And they said, well, I know there's at least 13% or something. It was a low number. And you had mentioned trying to engage more women in manufacturing. I'm just wondering if just the name manufacturing sounds
maybe
like a guy. Yesterday, I met with a manufacturer.
The word manufacturing sounds like a guy.
Maybe we should change manual labor.
Oh, there you go.
That's definitely
scary.
Chauvinistic.
Yeah, sounds like a guy.
Maybe it could just be a UL transmission to not discourage young ladies from learning how to drive a manual.
Yeah. So, next up, President Trump, just real quick, he referred to Justin Trudeau this week as governor. Did you see this?
Yes. Governor Trudeau.
Oh, and I think Trudeau was heard on a hot mic as well, saying that, it was actually a real thing, a real threat when it came to Trump's talk about acquiring and annexing Canada. And he was caught saying, no, it's real. Like, he's really talking about it. But here's Trump on Trudeau.
Going with Canada, there was obviously a delay in implementing those tariffs.
I spoke to Governor Trudeau on numerous occasions, and we'll see what happens. But
Governor Trudeau, he didn't even crack a smile either.
Pay much less tax than they're paying right now. That have perfect military protection. They don't have any military protection because they essentially
So great, Governor Trudeau.
I want this T-shirt.
What T-shirt you got, Tim?
It's Visit Beautiful Gulf of America.
Put it up to the camera right there so we can see it.
Okay, it says the best Gulf, tremendous. Everyone agrees.
The Gulf of America. That's right.
Great shirt.
Oh, man. Also this week, we found out that as you might imagine, any Dems left, right, that are, let's just say, actually somewhat masculine, right? They're not too happy with the direction that the Democrat Party is going, especially after David Hogg was elected to be the vice president, right? So James Carville, of all people, had some choice words about this. Listen to what he said. He said, when they were asking him about what's going on with the Democrat Party, he had some very choice expletive words to say. But he said he's dedicated his best years of his life to this party only to see it taken over by a bunch of stupid boys, and everything's gone to pot. And Carville's especially livid because David Hogg was elected. And he's just asking the questions like, who are these people? And he literally was saying, there goes the male vote forever. Thanks. We're really screwed now, which is something that we've talked about a lot. Like, it's a real problem for the Democrat Party. And this last election, I think, showed that. But it's almost like they're just like, no, we got to lean into this even more.
He's on Fox and Friends, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. James Carville.
The Ragin' Cajun.
The Ragin' Cajun. Yeah.
I didn't even know he was a Democrat.
He's got a lot to say.
He worked for a president, maybe Clinton.
Yeah, I think it was Clinton. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's always got opinions, that's for sure. Also this week, we found out that President Trump has his mugshot.
I saw that.
Proudly displayed outside the Oval Office.
I was going to wear my shirt. My mugshot T-shirt.
And Caitlin Collins of CNN is just not handling that real well. Not coping with that real well at all. Here's what she had to say.
Not only have we never had a U.S. president with a mugshot, I'm not sure we've ever had a mugshot hanging outside of the Oval Office before. But that is where President Trump has placed his from when he was indicted in Fulton County, Georgia, for his efforts to overturn the election. We learned a few days ago he is a framed cover of the New York Post with his mugshot just outside the Oval Office in what is known as the Outer Oval. Now, we discovered this when he was greeting the Indian Prime Minister. They were seated in chairs in front of the fireplace in the Oval, but just over the shoulder of his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, you could see the president's mugshot there as he has it framed. His aide and person who is his social media guru, really, Dan Scavino, posted a video of it saying, "Happy Valentine's Day" from the beautiful Oval Office. This has really become a rallying cry that Trump has used on the campaign trail. They've even put it on merch and sold it featuring his mugshot.
Joel's shirt.
And now it has a home outside the Oval Office as well. Not only have we never had a...
So great. I love it.
He could probably...
Did you see where he shushed Caitlin Collins?
Yes.
In the press conference
Love
this
it.
week. He's like, he's signing an executive order, and she starts asking a question. He's like, I haven't asked you to talk yet.
I love it.
Great. Just reminds her that he hasn't asked her to speak. Speaking of leftist women, there's a new study that has emerged that is very interesting to see. This is a Not the Bee article revealing that liberal women, I know this is not a shocker to you guys, but are much sadder and lonelier than their conservative counterparts. Is that a shocker? Not to me.
Mind-boggling.
Bunch of Karens.
Yeah. So the Babylon Bee article says, who could have predicted this? In the latest edition of New Study Confirms That What We Already Knew, a survey from the Institute for Family Studies confirmed that liberal women are sadder and more lonely than conservative women. Specifically from the study, it says, we found that 37% of conservative women reported being completely satisfied with life, whereas only 12% of liberal women did. Young conservative women are 3 times as likely to report being very satisfied with life compared to young liberal women. Moreover, liberal women are 2 to 3 times more likely to report they are not satisfied with their lives. So,
yeah, you could.
There you go.
Ooh, excuse me. You can watch a few minutes of Reels or TikTok, whatever you,
and find that out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Is it all over the place, Tim?
It's pretty much everywhere.
Even in your feed, along with the the Swahili.
It kind of goes. It goes.
Covers.
What's in your algorithm?
My algorithm. I'm telling you, people would pay for it. It's good stuff, but it really goes back to the whole word conservative.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have something that you think's worth saving,
right? What do you have?
You want to throw it all out.
What do you have then?
Yeah, watch it all burn.
Well, and
that's an unhappy.
They've been told that
mentality.
in the education system from the time they were knee high to a grasshopper. So,
is it the indoctrination system?
It is the indoctrination system. So, yeah, nothing new for us on that. Next up, federal workers are losing their jobs by the droves. Look at these numbers. Roughly 275,000 federal workers lost their jobs this week. That's over 10% of the federal workforce. 75,000 of that number took the buyout that Trump offered. 200,000 probationary workers were let go. The White House has not yet confirmed the total on that one, but this is how many were on a probationary status. 200,000. That's a lot. But here it's interesting to look at these numbers. The other thing that you're seeing too, someone has already put together a nice little, let's see if I can bring this up here. Nice little map of all the homes that are for sale in the DC area.
Oh my goodness.
Is it great again?
Is it great again yet? Yes, it is.
That was the question.
And the values too, like the home sale values too, because of the market being saturated.
Should we head out to Richmond, Virginia?
Probably
with
the
checkbook in hand
or two.
I see something for $300K.
I mean,
hey, you know what? I'm as sympathetic as anyone.
For sure.
But at a certain time, we got to wean these little pigs.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's something that it's gotten so out of control, and it hasn't been questioned in so long that people think it's the norm, when it never should have been the norm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think so many of these will come back better than ever.
Oh, for sure.
So many of these positions will be. I mean, I don't think anybody's trying to get rid of park rangers. And
no, it's the swamp draining itself is what it is. A lot of these, again, if they took the buyout, then that was just saying, look, we don't want to be here because Trump is in power, and that's what you want. I mean, it's the swamp draining itself. So
the government is way too big.
What's the job market going to look like
in D.C.?
No, just in...
Hey, you know what? Maybe we'll regain all those upper-level jobs we've lost, all those high-level tech jobs we've lost to China.
Well, I saw today where Taiwan is already making a deal on chip processing. They're the biggest one in the world that makes these microchips, and they're negotiating a deal right now to move to the U.S. And produce chips in the U.S. because they want to avoid the tariffs. So again, I don't like the tariff stuff, but you can't argue with the fact that this negotiation is working with a lot of these countries.
Yeah. Did you see the U.S. automakers pay a 10% tariff to send vehicles, I believe it's to the UK and to China? And Joel, you might check that.
I saw that flow chart that you're talking about.
And then it was 2.3 or something % tariffs that they pay to send vehicles here.
Wow. Yeah, I think Trump amended his stuff this week and said, look, we'll do the same as you do. Like if it's 2%, we'll do 2%. If it's 10%, 10%, we'll do 10%.
It's the art of the deal. Trump doesn't love tariffs as much as Trump says he loves tariffs. It's leverage.
It's a negotiating tactic.
Well, looking for a fair deal is every American should want that.
Who knows how to make a deal.
But everyone should be really happy about the fact that we're going to just play the game the way that it's being played. China is quickly becoming the richest. It's the biggest economy already. I believe it is. Joel looked at me like I could.
No, I agree.
And why are we acting like,
we're getting ripped off. It's exactly what Trump said. We're getting ripped off. We've been getting ripped off for a long time, and it's time to reset that. And it takes leadership to do it, but they will fall in line because, again, the bottom line is on. Right. Or don't. Right. We'll be okay.
And no, I mean, in America, we'll be forced to make some hard decisions on.
Yeah.
We're number one.
Oh, we are.
China's number two.
They're coming up at an unprecedented pace, though.
Yeah, but it's still like half the GDP.
Really?
Yeah. I think ours, what does it say, Joel? Yeah.
U.S. upholds its status as the major global economy and richest country with a GDP of over $28.78 trillion as of 2025, steadfastly preserving its pinnacle position from 1960 to 2024.
So 28 trillion.
I'll have to read down.
But if you look at the pace that China has come up the last 10 years, it's a matter of time.
I think they're at like 13 or something.
19.54.
Yeah, they probably were at 13 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that's the kind of.
After that, it falls off.
But
Germany is at 4.92 in third place.
Joel, what was China at in 2010? China's GPT.
You're overcooking my grits here, Coach.
I believe they're like coming up at a large percentage per year, and we've been pretty much holding steady.
Yeah. So it's working.
$6 trillion.
So half of what they are now.
No, they're 19 now.
Oh.
10 year or 14 years, 15 years. They've come up.
We've doubled.
Wow.
We've doubled and they've tripled.
Yeah. Yep. So it's time to reset that, I think, and Trump's going to give it a try. Next up, a Worcester City. I'm not sure what state this is in.
Massachusetts.
Is it Massachusetts?
Is that where the sauce is made?
Worcester. No, that's
Oh, that's in the Shire.
Worcestershire. How do you say it?
Worcestershire.
Okay. The city council there in Worcester votes to become a trans sanctuary city safe space. This reminds me a lot of the hearings I had 2 weeks ago in the House, but just listen to this little montage
I
here.
need the city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes,
Can you wrap up,
I can.
please?
If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
She's really selling
I'm
it.
shaking right now. I don't want to be here.
Can you wrap up, please?
I'm sorry. Am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense.
I'm not laughing at her disability.
I'm
No.
on the autism spectrum, and I have
Really?
narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to be here. It's my day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me. I want you to listen to me.
Let us remember that the Nazis burned the books that the Nazis burned books on gender sciences first. Now the administration has villainized and marginalized migrant workers, trans,
It's the same
LGBT
broken
people,
record.
and even special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap
Look
up.
at me.
Okay, we're all done here.
The ones reading from their phone, I'm guessing
Of course, we need to
ChatGPT
continue
wrote that for
celebrating
them,
Black History Month
and then they
because
couldn't.
in spite of what's coming down from Washington, we all know that we all exist and we all need to be recognized for our existence.
But be aware
They love to snap the
that
fingers.
you are a guest in my house when you come. And when you come, know that there are strong queer and trans people in my classroom who will collect you with the quickness.
My name in drag is Dee Dee Delight. And my name out of drag is Dewey Cosgrove Atienza.
Laddie LaRouge, he, they, in drag, District 3.
My legal name is Olivia D'Ambrosio. My public name is Livy Scanlon. My wife and I own a home in the Canal District.
I speak as someone who is always misgendered, like all the time. People refer to me as sir.
This
when
guy
I
looks
prefer
like
to be
Kid
referred to
Rock.
As ma'am. I speak as someone who is afraid to use
Ma'am.
public toilets. I speak as
I'm
someone
afraid to use public
who is
toilets,
a member
just
of this community
different
and
reasons.
is a queer person.
You have to imagine being me and my wife, fearing that our marriage rights will be stripped away at any moment.
Please, I only have so much time. Please, Joe's gonna cut me off.
Which matters more? Covering the legal fees of systemic police brutality or protecting the lives of queer people in our community? How many lives have to be lost before you consider fighting back against fascism and corruption?
Now is the time to say that if federal money relies on the dehumanization of trans people, that we don't...
That some of you care more about easy funding than trans lives and don't mind Nazis for some whatever
This guy's
reason.
got pigtails.
Normally I would say good evening, but through the chair I will only impart my sour grapes.
It's an extremely emotional and taxing thing to stand up here as someone as part of the trans and gender diverse community.
My name is Katie. I'm from District 5, and I'm speaking in support of agenda items 10B and 14B. Right now in our country, Trump is threatening the trans and gender diverse community.
Noticing people here are trying
This
to
is what
control
makes me
the
sick
rights of
right here.
others, and that's not right.
This is
We
when they
should
bring
make
in the
what's
kids to try to make their point.
This reminds me of that old meme of the guy riding the bicycle and he leans down and sticks a stick in between the spokes.
In his own spokes.
In his own spokes.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm suffering.
I was going to say, how many of them have died that weren't of their own hand?
Well, that's the thing. They try to blame that on everybody else, but
Okay.
But it literally is. That's exactly what it's like for 10 hours long, Tim, whenever we have these hearings up in the House. So you got to come up sometime.
I should come up next time. That was quite a watch.
Eye opener. Yeah.
Just entertaining.
Well, it is for the first 10 or 15 minutes. But
I would probably get thrown out for heckling on my ear.
It's tough.
Permanent ban.
Also, breaking news for this week. Elon allegedly had another baby. Did you hear about this?
I've seen a couple
with influencer Ashley St. Clair. Look her up, Joel.
I've been looking her up. So
Ashley St. Clair.
It looks like, I don't know, maybe Elon's denying this.
I haven't.
There's a little drama. There's a little drama.
There's definitely drama. I will say.
Tell me there's been leaked photos, heavily doctored leaked photos of the baby.
No, they're trying to keep it a secret.
Right.
Apparently.
It would just be, I'm saying, like, pictures, Elon Musk's face transposed onto that.
Apparently he's got 13 kids.
He does.
Which, I mean, good on him. If I could afford it, I'd have 13 kids.
Truly.
Yeah, so Ashley St. Clair is a 26-year-old conservative influencer, recently announced on social media, on Twitter, on X, that she gave birth to Elon Musk's 13th child 5 months ago. She cited privacy and safety concerns for keeping the news private until now, stating that she was compelled to reveal the information because tabloid media was about to expose it, regardless of potential harm, and requested that the media respect her child's privacy and allow the child to grow in a normal and safe environment, blah, blah, blah. So that was her statement, but I haven't seen anything formally from Elon on that. So,
well, congratulations to Elon and Ashley.
Yeah, I don't know.
Allegedly.
We'll see.
I don't know. Twitter's kind of running away with this.
Oh yeah, it's all over the place.
What's the baby's name? That's the tale.
They probably won't release it.
Oh,
unless
yeah.
they have to, unless it gets doxxed.
I haven't seen any names or anything.
I don't think they want to release it.
It would be the tale.
Yeah. Seems a bit fishy to me. Just the timing, right? And just that it's just now coming out. Of course, I could imagine that, now that the media is trying to go after Elon, they're probably trying to find anything they possibly can to dig up on him and all that. But
she didn't make any. She didn't make
suspicious.
any disparaging.
No. I'm sure she'll be well taken care of.
I would imagine.
Yeah. Last of all, just something I threw into the mix right at the end here. Have you seen this? Where in San Francisco, allegedly, this is from the sheriff's office in the city and county, I guess. I wonder if that's similar to like St. Louis City and St. Louis County in San Francisco. But around 12 o'clock noon, they said 3 men dressed in DOGE shirts and MAGA hats entered various offices at the San Francisco City Hall, demanding that employees turn over digital information related to alleged wasteful government spending and fraud. And the employees refused their requests and called the sheriff's deputies on them. And they responded, but they had already left. So it's under investigation, but I just think it's hilarious. Like, they just showed up in their DOGE shirts.
I thought it might have been Jussie Smollett.
Right.
Thought you were going a different direction.
Juicy Smouye.
Right. Have you guys ever seen the movie Support Your Local Sheriff?
No.
It's good stuff. It's like a 1960s.
Have you heard that song, I Shot the Sheriff?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Hey, have we got 5 seconds for something super patriotic?
What do you got, Joel?
Go to Nick Schroer's Twitter or X.
Okay, I can do that.
Apparently,
Senator Schroer.
Apparently, there's a U.S. versus Canada hockey match going on right now.
I just got sent that by Darwin.
And Canada booed the USA national anthem.
Really?
And our players were like, all right, we're fighting. And there were 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
I just got that video sent over from my friend Darwin.
Oh, here it is. Let's
go down to, he's posted a couple times about it. Yeah, right there.
That one?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Making hockey great again.
He said Missouri boys kicking their butts for the USA. So I guess some of these guys are from Missouri.
Probably St. Louis. Blue.
Our nation's face-off matchup is underway, and the gloves are off. Matthew Tkachuk and Brandon Hagel.
Oh, man.
Hagel from Tampa Bay, Tkachuk from Florida. Did not see this coming.
So when it goes to the ground.
The crowd is going wild.
Hagel skated away as he got back up, imploring the crowd to get even more vocally involved if that's possible. And this start, if you can call it that, have we even started, reminiscent of the old days. Little chat at the start. Hagel and Matthew Tkachuk drop right off the hop. And I'm telling you, Sean, I'm standing down here, and I think there's zero chance that we see
I think USA's got it.
For more than 1 second before we're going to see both Tkachuk brothers sitting in the same penalty box. Well, Brady's out there, and Sam Bennett,
and this was all because they booed the anthem.
Tonight, he did not play against Sweden. Is taking the face-off. He's clearly in
Senator
there.
Schroer said, boo our anthem. We will fight you, beat you at the game you made, then make you the 51st state.
This was set. Here they come, right, you're right.
Fight number 2. 3
man.
seconds in, fight number 2.
Here you go.
Same guys?
Different guys. The other
Different
two
guys.
The other guys.
The penalty box after this.
Bennett in the lineup for the first time.
Oh!
Brady gets the better of this one.
No, he's wanting out of there. He said, let me at him, boys.
Sam Bennett, 8 years a teammate of Matthew Tkachuk in both Calgary and the last 3 in Florida, fighting Matthew's brother.
Is there going to be another one?
Is this 3?
When the first face-off
That's
was
the replay
about to hit
of 2.
the ice, Brady Tkachuk yelled across to Bennett, and he said, hey, Benny, after this, we're going. And so the change was made. Bennett jumped on the ice. And
That's both Tkachuk brothers in the penalty box.
We thought it would be a wild night here in Montreal. We're off to this start. Well, Matthew Tkachuk was asked after the game against Finland about the booing of the U.S. anthem. He said, I don't like it. Team USA said they use it as a motivator.
Yeah.
Coaches and players on both sides said they hoped it wouldn't happen tonight. It did. It's helped set the tone.
Number 3.
Who won this?
Oh,
it's still going.
We had a fight 2 seconds in, another one 1 second later. Now in the center of the action, it's Colton Parayko and JT Miller.
Man.
Parayko's got a big size advantage. Miller's a tough dude. And
takes some serious talent to be able to fight on skates.
Like 1996 when this building opened up with the World
Let's
Cup.
go.
Let's go.
That was the last time the United States won the major best-on-best international competition. 1996 here.
Some scrappers.
And Ray, we talked to Keith Kachuk the other night, Brady and Matthew's dad, and he described what a physical battle that was throughout the 3-game series against Canada. And he was right at the center of it.
That's
he
a good
was,
one.
and his boys are tonight. Miller had his...
This is way more entertaining than the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
for sure.
The first 9 seconds of the hockey match was more entertaining than the whole game.
I may have to go home and watch some hockey.
Good stuff. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. You guys got anything else to add?
I think the U.S. may need to be looking to Dana White to recruit some hockey players.
Yeah. Can any of those UFC guys skate?
Can you skate?
That's right. Be like the old boy on the Mighty Ducks. Couldn't stop.
Have Mighty Mouse out there.
Oh, man. Well, you know the drill, folks. You can find us on just about anywhere where you get your podcasts, on Amazon or on Apple, also on Spotify. And we've got the video equipment. We're up and running on that. It won't be too long, and we'll get a little better and a little more smooth at it. But for now, hey,
God bless.
God bless you, and we'll see you next week. Batteries are still working on the cameras.
Awesome.
Tim is literally looking up. What's the name of it?
Swahili country music covers.
Oh, no.
What am I looking? I was just catching up on text.
Shamasan. Oh. Shamasan.
Oh, yeah, we're getting us a Shamasan for the man cave wall. I'm going to learn to play it. 3 strings.
Oh, man.
Twice as easy as a guitar.
Twice as easy as it has 3 lines.
Half as easy.
Twice as easy works, too.
Hey, that's a baker's half dozen.
6 to 1, half a dozen to the other.
Oh, man. Good times.
That'd be 4 times easier to play than a 12-string guitar.
That's one way to look at it.
The bass, a 4-string bass kicked my butt.
I prefer the air guitar.
A 6-string guitar also handed it to me. I'm just moving down. If I can't play the shamisen, I'm gonna find a 2-stringed instrument.
Oh, just some baling wire on a tin can.
Hey, we are still number 4 on the Missouri's 10 best political podcasts.
Yeah, it's that can't be accurate.
I know for a fact the number 2 one hasn't recorded a new episode since a year ago.
Well, we'll use it as a motivating factor.
Just like the U.S. hockey team.